Okay, this is part 3. We're going to look at how to make our body hold, a few ways how to make your body hold an axle. So I got several possible bodies. Yardsticks would work. I got one for 97 cents at Lowe's. They're not very expensive. This I just kind of found in my junk pile around the house. This is in the junk pile. Somebody's like drilled little holes in it, but again, no grade for beauty. It doesn't matter. So the first one I'm going to show you is this one. It's just a piece of board. You might notice I drilled 2 holes in it, and I drilled those holes so that when I cut this notch out, I could turn my saw blade and get this top part. If you don't drill holes in it first, you're not going to be able to do that. So I drilled 2 holes in it. There are a couple ways I can make this hold my axle. Let's say that this is my axle. I could run the axle. I could run the axle through eye screws that I screw in the bottom, like right here. I could put 2 eye screws in there and run the axle through the eye screws. I drill this hole out because I need to be able to get my fingers in there to wind the string. If you try to get the axle too close to the body and you're trying to wind it, you'll be nothing but frustrated. I could do the eye screws. I could tape or glue straws to the bottom, running an axle through those. Again, though, when you glue them on, you need to make sure they're straight because your car will go crooked. They need to be directly across from each other. You might notice I've already drilled a hole in it. It's possible you could take your axle and put it through a hole. Again, that hole is going to have to be drilled extremely straight. This one isn't. So my car's going to go crooked. But see, you could easily wrap your string around the axle here. Problem is now I got to figure out how to put wheels on it. But there's a couple other ways I wanted to show you before we get to that. These are paint sticks. I've pre-drilled holes in them for my axles because it's easier to drill them in the exact same spot if you put them together and drill one hole through them instead of trying to drill them at the same time. But if I were to put these, I could put these like this. I could glue this to the top of it like this. What my plan was that I was going to, and again, I provide you glue. That's not going to be a problem. If I put a dab of glue here and a dab of glue there, I got way enough glue that I can do both sides. And then some glue directly across here and here. I could take little pieces of paint stick and put on there. Glue those, and I have a body that I could either, I could put my axle through there. When this dries, I would take this board out and it would just be standing up straight. But we'll let that dry and look at that later. You could use a toy car. But again, remember, if this was your toy car, it's a good one because you can see the axle. But you're probably going to have to trash it. For example, this dump thing's probably going to have to come off because there's no place on here to put my mousetrap. Maybe in here, but with this thing going like this, that's probably not a good idea. So I'd probably have to take some sort of a saw and get the dump part of the truck off. And I could put my mousetrap right here. I did want to say that when you do put your mousetrap on your car, I don't recommend screwing it on or gluing it on because you may need to change your mousetrap. I recommend very tight duct taping, which means you probably need a roll of duct tape. We use a lot of duct tape. But a toy car is definitely a possibility. The next thing would be figuring out how, now that we've got a way to put our axle on the car, how to put our wheel on our axle. And when we think about that, this particular one, if you put your wheel on the axle, the wheels on the axles first, you wouldn't be able to get it on the car. You could put one wheel on this axle, put it through, and then attach the other wheel. But sometimes it's best to put both wheels on your axle first. Sometimes it's best to put the axle on the car and then put the wheels on it. Again, that's part of your plan. So think about that. If I had both wheels on this axle, I wouldn't be able to get it on the car in this particular design. There are designs that it would work, and I will show you one of those designs.